Greetings, haere mai, kia ora, ni hao, konnichiwa, moraban, swadi krab, swadi ka, hunyao, guten tag, namaste, and selamat datang, komusta. Who have I missed out? I'm sure I've missed a few. Anyway, I want to welcome you all. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. It's lovely to see so many students here. We're really pleased that we can bring this event to you. I just want to, first of all, introduce our speakers and do a few health and safety things. So my name is Meg Upjohn, and I work at UC Careers here on campus. Does anybody know where UC Careers is located? I can see some nods. Some of you have been in to visit us. Who can tell us? Where are we? Geography building, great. Right next to Cafe 101, and we have white flags outside, and you're all welcome to come in any time. It's best, if you need to talk to one of our careers consultants, it's best to make an appointment on Career Hub first, because they are quite busy. So, our speakers today are Tony McNeil, the Relationship Manager from Immigration New Zealand. And we also have Steve Jones, who is Operations Manager from Immigration New Zealand. And it's just a little bit of information there about what Tony and Steve are going to be talking about. Tony will talk to you about employment rights, and Steve Jones will be talking about work visas after graduation. So I'm going to hand over to them. Oh, no, sorry. First, I just have to do a few health and safety things. For those of you who have got cell phones with you, please remember, switch off. This event is going to be recorded, so do be aware that if you have questions, they may be captured as well. Now, some basic evacuation procedures. If the alarm goes, please exit from the emergency exits. Our evacuation area is right out here on the concrete between this building and the Matariki building. If, in the unlikely chance of an earthquake, you know to drop, cover and hold, and then leave the building when it's safe to do so. We are aiming to serve pizza after the event at 1 p.m. It will be outside. We've got half vegetarian and half for carnivores, meat lovers amongst you. And there will be a little bit of time at the end for questions, but please be aware that none of us are licensed or authorised to be advisors, and so we can only guide you and answer very generic questions. So thank you. Now I'm going to hand over to Tony.
How do I stop this? Is that what I want? Yeah, I was just trying to get, if you want to bring up my one, it would be brilliant. Thank you very much. If you do that for me, that'd be awesome. Thank you for having us here today. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to pretend, we're going to imagine. Okay, you've finished your studies, you've graduated with honours, and now you've got that perfect job that you wanted. So it's very important now to make sure you protect yourself. Okay? Every employee in New Zealand has rights, and it doesn't matter what visa you're on or what industry you're in. That is such an important statement, so remember it. You have the same rights that I do, and it doesn't matter what your visa status is. Doesn't want to do that. So here is your Bible. Here is your foundation document. It's your contract. And you don't enter into employment without one. It's going to tell your job description, what hours you're going to do, how much you're going to get paid. Incredibly important. And we sometimes forget about the importance of reading those contracts correctly. It's about protecting yourself. In New Zealand, the minimum wage is $15.75 per hour. So you don't want to be getting any less than that. And of course, since you've graduated, you need to be paid the market rate. It's what the job is worth. Okay? So if you're an architect, you shouldn't be getting paid $15.75 an hour. And most importantly, you can't get less than a Kiwi in that position. Okay? You can't be discriminated against. Very important. Little things like when you get a job, sometimes the boss might say, oh, and I'm going to take some money out of your salary, your wages, to pay for tea and coffee and those boots I gave you. They can't do that without your authority. You must enter into a contract with them where you go, yes, I understand, I'm happy with that. So they can't just do it. Very important again. 4 weeks holiday per year. Okay, so in your contract, once again, what does it say about holidays? When do you get your allotment? How many days do you get? Well, you've got to get at least 20 days. So very important again. Sick leave. In your contract, it'll tell you how your sick leave works. Normally you'll get 5 days after continuous 6 months employment and then increase to 10 days per year after that. But each employer can have different rules. They might give it to you when you first start work. But once again, you talk to your employer to work out how it all works. So you know if you are ill, you're covered. Once again, hopefully not, but if you have a bereavement, someone passes away, it is written in your contract about what bereavement leave you get. So remember to check it that it's there. Straightforward there. Your employer must keep all your records, all your annual leave, all your wages. So if you need them, because you're going to the bank, you say, can I please have this documentation? And they must have it. In New Zealand, you've got a voice. So if things are not going well at work, we encourage you, mediation, talk about it, put your hand up. It's okay to do that. So if things aren't going well, you're unhappy, you're confused about something, speak and talk. Okay? Really, really important. That number there, you can ring and ask for advice. So if you've got home one night and you're not happy with how work is going, you feel that you've been aggrieved, that you're not getting what you're due, what you should be getting, you can make a phone call and get some advice. But we always encourage you to have a voice. Now that you've got your contract sorted, you've now got to try and work in the New Zealand work culture, which is really difficult. Why is it difficult? Let's see if we can establish why. So, this is a generalisation, and of course we all have different personalities. But in general, okay, different countries have different views of things. So we've got rules are really important over here, and status is very important over here. And you can see where some of those countries sit. That's not good. Come on. It wants to throw a patty. Okay then, that's all right. It can throw a patty. Oh, that's interesting. Why has it done that? Right. Oh, God. Oi. Who's pushing that button? All right then. It wasn't quite as dramatic as I wanted it. But as you can see, New Zealand, we just don't care about rules. We don't care about status. You know, I can go and meet my boss and go, hi Bill, hi Susan, and they're way up here. Because in New Zealand, we're fine with that. We're still respectful, but we don't, I shouldn't talk to them. Okay? We encourage it, and they like it too. We don't like to stand on ceremony, if that makes any sense. You know, we like it to be low-key and everyone's friends, and we still function with respect. Right. Once again in New Zealand, down here is about I like lots of structure, I like to be told what to do, to let me get on with my job. Why is it doing this? It's like it's in delayed mode. Oh, look at that. It's just teasing me. Look at it. It's so annoying. Oh. It's like in slow motion. Ta-da! There's New Zealand, way up there. Once again, we just want to get on with the job. We don't like being told what to do. We get told once and we move on with it. And we think that's pretty cool. You know, we go, it's showing initiative. So sometimes in the Kiwi workplace, you get a lot of space, a lot of room to go and do your job. But if you're new, you're going, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. So you've got to ask, because New Zealand's way up there and you might be this far away. So ask for help, ask for direction. Tell them, I'm going to do a better job if you tell me exactly what you want me to do. And that's okay. All right. Because we're easy to understand, aren't we? No. Of course we are. Our fantastic accent. What else? What's hard about our accent? What do we do that's really, really bad? What do we do? Do we talk fast, something like that? Do we? Oh, really? Our speed, yep. Here's the big thing about Kiwis, is that we like to be polite. So we very rarely will say, come here, shut the door, do that. We don't talk like it's rude. So we say, would you please, can we do this together? Very much the we. We want to be inclusive. And we go, we need to do this afternoon. We need to do that. It's not we, it's you. You need to do that. But I don't want to be rude, so I say we. Okay, so just remember that when you're going, I'm waiting for the we to turn up. Where's the we? I'm by myself. I didn't want to be rude, so I said we, but I mean you. So just remember that one. Kiwi slang. Yeah, nah, bro. Who's heard that before? All right. So let's have a little quiz. How much slang do you know? What's a chili bin? Fridge?
No, it's not. It's for outdoor educational experiences.
Excellent.
Teaching you things.
That's probably the best example I've heard, actually. That's really good. You're correct. An insulated box used to keep food cool. That's what it is. All right, let's have another go at it. What's a sparky? A lighter? Yeah, it could be a lighter. Sorry? Something bright, yes. And I heard electrician. Crazily enough, it's an electrician. It's someone who does the wiring. And it sparks, so we call him a sparky. I don't know why, we just do. Good as gold. Good job? Yeah, all is good. Not a problem. Sweet as. Bring a plate.
With something on it.
With something on it. I spoke to a South African lady who was new to New Zealand, and this is true. She got invited to a barbecue. They said, bring a plate. She went, how sad, I'll take 3. Because they're obviously short of plates at their home, so she took 3 empty plates. Much to her horror, when she got there, she realised there should be food on them. Isn't it? Look, we set people up to fail sometimes. Yeah, bring a plate with food on it. Well done. Togs, swimming costume, brilliant. Let's whistle through them. Stuffed. Stuffed. Too much work? Yep. Tired? I looked at this word and I realised how difficult this word would be. Because I can be stuffed because I've been for a run and I'm tired. I can be stuffed because I've eaten too much, and the tractor's stuffed because it doesn't work. The wheel's fallen off. So we have really strange words, okay, which make life very difficult. To whinge or be a whinger? Complain? Well done. Yep, to complain a lot. Yeah, it's not doing it once, it's doing it twice or 3 times. A ding, and it's not a bell, it's a small dent in a car. I've dinged my car. He said, what? I've dinged my car. I've crashed my car. I'm skint. Broke, well done. Yep. I've got no money, I'm skint. And the Wops, who's heard of that? The Wops, crazy. It just means an out-of-the-way location or a remote rural area. So if you milk cows, we would say, oh, he's out in the Wops. He's miles away from anybody. Now, I don't know if you've ever watched the New Zealand news, but of course we're the only probably country in the world that has 5 minutes on the weather at 6:30 and then 10 minutes on the weather at 10 to 7 before we say goodnight to the news. We're obsessed with weather. Obsessed with it. We are. Seriously. So if ever you're short of a conversation when you're standing there in your new job, bum, bum, bum. Oh, it's cold yesterday, wasn't it? Oh, wasn't it? Yes. Oh, I couldn't go out, me and the kids. Well, you're gone. It's all good. You got the weather covered. It's brilliant. So seriously, you say that, you're fine. On a lift, in the lift. Ding. The boss is there. Talk about the weather, they'll talk to you and go, what a great employee that person is. Knows all about the weather. So other topics for small talk, of course, if you happen to watch the All Blacks play, you can say, great game by the All Blacks. They play rugby, I think, but it's okay. You know a little bit about it, you're all good. And there's things to avoid in New Zealand as well. Once again, going back to we want to be polite, we don't ask people what they earn. We don't ask those personal questions. In some cultures, that might be fine, to be quite, open about that. But in New Zealand, we don't ask that question, okay? If someone wants to share it, fine, but you don't ask it. What I'll do, this information will get out to you, okay? But it just shows you the variety of information that you can draw on if you need help, okay? Here's the big thing. We speak in an indirect and informal manner, but we still like to have respect. So if you are from a direct speaking culture, you might just have to go, okay, I might just change the way I do that to make sure that I'm not, getting it wrong. Just as we have got to try to make sure we understand what you're saying as well. And the big thing is, don't be afraid to ask, okay? The most important thing you take away today is that you have a voice. So when you move into employment, if and when that happens, you have a voice and you're allowed to put your hand up and most importantly, ask for help. Thank you.
Turn that off, actually, if you want.
Yep. All good?
Even better, then it's not shining in my eyes. I can actually see who's here. So, hi, my name's Steve Jones. I'm the operations manager for New Zealand Immigration, what we call visa services. So we're the team that actually issue the visas and put the stamps in your passports and all of that. I didn't bring any visas with me today, so I can't give any out. I usually give 2 or 3 away free on this. That's not true. I forgot you were recording it, sorry. For those with a good ear for an accent, you'll notice I'm originally not from here. I'm from Auckland. Sometimes I get away with that. I'm a migrant. I came to New Zealand in 1979, 1980, Christmas, New Year. I was living and working in Bermuda at the time. Bermuda's anybody's idea of a nice place to live. And if you watch the telly next week, the America's Cup's being run out of Bermuda, so you'll see a little bit of it and you'll see how beautiful it was. I came here intending to stay for 6 weeks. Holiday. Because in Bermuda, when you renew your work visa, you have to actually leave to do it. You can't do it like you can in New Zealand. So I left. I thought I knew some people in New Zealand, so I came down here. I got off the plane and I went, I'm staying. I am not leaving this place. This is just wonderful. And that was in Auckland. And so I went through the process. It was relatively simple for me because I'm English as a background. So there was still kind of the colonial thing going on, so it wasn't that difficult. And I'm a mechanic by trade. So I had a skill that I could bring and I had a trade I could bring, and it was a relatively simple process. I never even went back to Bermuda to get my luggage, my toolbox, my clothes. I just left it and stayed. And then I came to Christchurch And I can really distinctly remember getting off the aeroplane on the first day that I arrived in Christchurch, and you walked across the tarmac in those days, walked across the tarmac, and one way was the mountains covered in snow, and the other way was the Port Hills, and this wonderful, wonderful city that everybody says is just like England. It's nothing like England, all right? Not even remotely like England. But anyway, and I thought it was absolutely beautiful, and here I stayed. And then process, I ended up actually working for the New Zealand Immigration Service. So there's an English saying that says, set a thief to catch a thief. So that's maybe why they gave me the job, I don't know. Anyway, I also have a great passion for the university. I have two daughters, they're 25 and 26 now, but they both graduated from this university, so I've had a little bit of connection with the place. I've been here often, I've talked to the tutors, I get how it functions, I get how it works. International students, I think, are, for us, a great thing. Really, really happy to see you all here. You obviously already all hold a visa, and what it is you're going to do next, well, that's entirely up to you. Some of you will study, you'll graduate, and you'll take the skills that you learned from here back to your home country, and you'll apply those skills and talents in your home country. Some of you will graduate, you might stay for a little while, you might have a look around the place because you've been so hard studying for what, 3 years, most of you? 1 year. Oh, you've been so hard studying for however long it is you've been studying that you feel you need a break, so you go and have a little holiday, and then you go home. Some of you may have aspirations to stay permanently and live in this wonderful country, and that's absolutely fine. But what I want to talk about right now is what happens immediately after you graduate. So currently you're all here on student visas, and currently you all have what's termed work rights on those visas. So you can work for 20 hours a week, maximum, and you can work during holiday breaks. What we sometimes see in that environment is the idea of working is twofold. One, it gives you some money to put in your pocket so that you can function, you can go and have a beer, or you can go and buy pizza, or you can go for a weekend away, or whatever. So it gives you a little bit of money. But really what it does is it gets you into, tell me if I'm talking too fast or using slang. It gets you into the workforce. It starts that process of communionizing and becoming part of the community and becoming part of the system. All right, so it gives you that opportunity to do it. What we sometimes see is the work starts to overtake the academia. And the work becomes more and more and more, and sometimes beyond the 20 hours, and the study becomes less and less and less and less, and you start to fail. And you'll fall off. Because when you come to renew your visa, your student visa, if it is a student visa, if you need to renew it, university will say to us, I'm sorry, but they're just not making it academically. Their attendance is shocking, the academia is shocking, and we won't renew your visa. So just keep that in mind. While we're encouraging you to go out and have a look at the workplace and test the water a little bit, don't let it overtake what it is that you're really here to do, which is as an international student. So what happens when you graduate? We're quite desirous of keeping skills in New Zealand. Highly talented, highly skilled people we really, really want. And university graduates are great in that class. Why? Because we've got a population of almost nothing. All right? You know, I mean, there is just miles. I come from a town in UK. It's got a population of 1.6 million people. It's a town. It's not even a city. 60 million people in UK, 4 million people in New Zealand. So we want people. We're keen and we're encouraging of it. So when you graduate, you are entitled to apply. It's called a WD2 visa. You can find it on the website. But really, it's what's called a job search visa. Everybody terms it a job search visa. It's a 12-month visa that allows you to work for whomever you want, doing whatever you want, wherever you want. In New Zealand, of course. Don't turn up in Sydney with one because they'll laugh at you. Work for who you want, doing what you want, anywhere you want, for 12 months. And the only prerequisite is that you have graduated and you've got sufficient money to look after yourself. I think it's about $1,200. the exact numbers on the website, but it's not a great amount of money. And if you've got those two things, we will gladly give you a one-year visa. Now, you can do what you want with that one-year visa. And some people just go skiing or surfing, depending whether you graduate in winter or in summer. But they generally kind of wander around the country and go to pubs and parties and have a jolly good time and don't really do much of anything with it apart from have a jolly good time. At the end of that year, you can now apply for what's called a WD1 visa. And I know the numbers are the wrong way around. You get the 2 first and then you get the 1. It's because we didn't used to have the 2, we only had the 1. And there was a problem with it, which I'll explain as we go. This visa is a 2-year visa, and it's an employer-assisted visa. So you now have to have a specific job working for a specific employer. And the job must be relevant to whatever it is you've graduated. So if you've graduated as an accountant, you're looking for a job as a bookkeeper. That would be appropriate. If you've graduated as an architect and you get a job at a Z service station pumping fuel, it's not going to work. There is no connection there. Do you know what I mean? There's no connectivity. So this job now needs to relate to whatever it is that you've graduated in. Go back to the WD2, the one-year visa. How many people do in management of some kind or another? Okay. It is very unlikely that you're going to walk into a job that meets the definition of what a managerial job is with absolutely no experience and get that 2-year visa. Go back to the one-year visa, spend that year integrating yourself into a position where you will have experience, so when you come to do the 2-year, you're likely to get a job offer that meets the standard. Does that make sense? Yes. Makes sense to me. And I didn't graduate. So provided then that you get a job that matches or is associated with whatever it is you graduate in, then we'll grant you a 2-year visa. But now we're getting very specific. This is to work as a bookkeeper for Deloitte in Christchurch. So there's a lot of conditions around that. So as well in that 1 year, as well as thinking about, do I want to stay? Do I want to go home? Is it time to stay? What am I going to do next? Yalda, yalda, yalda. Think, where do I want to live? Christchurch I love. I think it's brilliant. But look, I've lived in Invercargill. I thought Invercargill was absolutely brilliant. Loved the place. I've lived in Auckland. I thought Auckland was fantastic. I've lived in Wellington. I thought that was lovely. So, you know, have a little look around. Decide what, because the next 2 years, you're going to be in that place on that work visa. What happens at the end of that 2 years? All being well, you can then apply for skilled migrant residence. Lots and lots of options are there, and that's a really big subject, and it's a subject in itself, and it's a presentation that we do outside of this forum. But I'm happy just to stick my toe in it a little bit. There are lists of skills that are in short supply in New Zealand. If your trade, for want of an expression, is on that list, then your passageway into residence is much easier. If it's not, then you need to evidence that what you have is skilled. That's not to say it does not take skill to do what you do, but there is a definition of the measure of skilled migrant. You know what I'm saying? Being a waiter is skilled. Being a waiter takes skill, but it is not skilled as in skilled migrant, all right? So just as you're going through this WD2, WD1, have a little think about what your end game is, if indeed you've even thought that far ahead. Okay, all nice and clear? All right, so all I want to say, now you beat me to it, my friend. Man at the back wants to ask a question. Go for your life.
You mentioned about the 2-year visa and 1-year visa. So is it necessary that one has to have the 1-year visa completed, then he'll get the 2-year visa, or he can directly get it?
No, you don't have to go that path. What's being asked is it necessary to go WD2, WD1, and then residence? Is that what you're asking me? No, it's not. You can go straight to residence if you've got the appropriate job, if you've got the appropriate position, presuming you're going skilled migrant residence. The other way to do it, of course, is to marry a New Zealander. Which is what I did. No. I did, but many, many, many years later. So yeah, if you're going skilled migrant, no, there's no obligation. I just don't know why you wouldn't. You know, it's a freebie. It's an easy, especially the WD2, the 12-month one, and it's open, do what you want. And I really kind of like the thought of, you know, young people graduating and going and having a look round and see what it's about, get what the hang of it is. And then that stuff that Tony talked about, you're much better equipped to deal with it. Because if it's not working, just quit and go somewhere else, work in a bar, do whatever, you know, and have a little look round and settle and get yourself sorted out after the rigours of university. I'm presuming university is rigorous. Listen, my daughters told me it was really tough. Yeah? I never believed them. They seemed to spend most of the time going to parties. And what was the name of the pub across the road that fell down? The Foundry? Yeah, there you go. They seem to spend a lot of time in there studying. Yes, sir.
I have a question, basically. Can you please explain about the employer-assisted visa? Yes.
Yeah, what else do you need to know? That's the WD1?
Yeah.
Right. So you need to have a specific job that relates to what you graduated in. And the person who's employing you needs to be employing you because you've got that degree, or you know, you have graduated with that. He would not give the job to somebody who did not have your qualification. And now you can see why we created the 1-year visa, because it gives you some time to get that experience if that's the way you're going to choose to go. So that by the time you come to do the 2-year visa, you are in a position where you have some experience to go with your qualification, so he's likely to be offering you that job. Tell you something that comes up an awful lot is manager. You doing management, my friend? You doing management?
No.
Okay.
I'm doing MBIS.
All right. Comes up a lot in management. Shift manager in a franchised environment is very difficult to follow. That's very difficult to make that work, because you're not actually managing. Like, the franchise process has taken care of all the actual management things that you might be required to do. So it doesn't quite match. So just a little caution around that one, that's all. Sir?
I guess you need to apply for the WD2 before graduating, right? You need to give you some time for the process.
No, 3 months after graduation. Up to 3 months. Just make sure that you remain lawful. I've no idea where you visited, where your student visa is. I think we organised it so that they all expire after graduation. All right. So you've got a 3-month window. You'd need to see your graduation certificate, if that's the right expression. There's some evidence that you've actually attended and you've actually graduated, and whatever the financial requirement is. I've got $1,200 in my head, but I've been around such a long time that it might have got overtaken now. It might be like $9,000 by now. But it's on the website, my friend. Okay, I should have had a look before I came. Sir?
Can we get 2 WD ones?
No.
Like, once I've finished.
No, that's easy. No.
I've done my master's, I worked for a year, and then I went to do a PhD. And then, you know,
Oh, I see. Yeah, so you're a double graduate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, you can. In those circumstances, yes, you can. So if you graduated once and had the visa,
Yeah.
then you come back and you graduate again,
Yeah.
then yes, you can. You want to? Oh, come on, you should be full time. Anybody else? What a quiet audience. You're next, but one at the back's first. Beat you to it by a margin of a second there.
About the skilled migrant visa, one of the requirements is showing the experience, right? Is it necessary if we get the overseas experience? Is it counted or not?
Sorry,
About the skilled migrant.
skilled migrant visa, yeah, so permanent residence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
One of the requirements is to show the experience. So
Yeah.
it should be the New Zealand experience or overseas experience also count.
Your work with the work experience on your WD2 visa count, is that what you're asking me?
No, if I'm not going for WD.
Okay, so your work experience Are you bringing the work experience with you from offshore? Yeah. Yes, it counts. Yes, it counts. It's a reasonably complex piece of legislation based on a points system which revolves around your academia, your age, your work experience, have you got a job offer, have you not got a job offer, and so on, okay? But if you are, I mean, I would commonly see something like motor mechanic from UK, because that was me, with 12 years experience as a motor mechanic in UK, then I can claim points for that experience. Yes. Does that answer it? Ma'am?
I had the exact same question, actually.
Well, exact same answer then, that's easy. Are you a motor mechanic from UK with 12 years experience?
It applied to the WD1 visa too, because you said there were specific, they needed to need my specific skills.
Yes.
Skills acquired abroad do count, don't they?
The 2 years work experience will count.
No, that was not my question.
Okay.
It's, let's say I had, given my age, some experience from overseas.
Yeah.
And I would find a job with a certain employer who wants these skills.
Yeah.
But these skills, of course, are not the ones I graduated in New Zealand.
Yep.
Would that be okay?
Yeah. It will be okay for a residence, for a skilled migrant residence visa. It would not be okay for a WD1 visa.
Thank you.
Does that answer it?
Yes.
You all got that? You all got the distinction in there?
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't have to do the WD stuff. You can just come straight out. If you want to apply for skilled migration, permanent residence, you can do. You don't have to go down that graduate, postgraduate course. Entirely up to you guys. My work here is done. Whoa, never is. Yes, sir.
Can you apply for a skilled migrant visa based on your previous certificate from overseas, or you have to wait until you graduate from New Zealand?
No, you can apply. That's why I didn't want to get dragged down the skilled migrant one, really, because it's a big, meaty subject, and it's very, very specifically personal to the person who's applying, all right? So having said that, I'm prepared to answer your question, but just keep in mind that I'm being general. We have a list of suitably acceptable qualifications from overseas institutions. So if you got your degree from Yale, if you got a degree in political science from Yale, it would be accepted. And you would get the appropriate points. All right? If you've got a degree in underwater macrame knitting from some obscure university in Turkmenistan, then it's likely it would not be acceptable. All right? And what we would... Nobody from Turkmenistan here, is there? It's always risky knowing which country to pick on, you know. What you can do with that then is apply to NZQA, the New Zealand Qualifications Authority, and they will assess whether it's comparable or not. All right? Turkmenistan's a pretty safe country for me because I spent quite a lot of time in Russia working in that part when it was the Soviet Union. And we saw a lot of that sort of thing, you know, and they were not comparable. You know, the whole, especially in that trade area, you know, electricians, builders, plumbers, bricklayers. Have you ever seen a Turkmenistani toilet? You'd never want to call a Turkmenistani plumber out, I promise you. All right, because it's so differently done. So, yeah. That answer it? Oh, you've had a go, haven't you? Hmm? Oh, no, it was him. It's all right. You're twins. Yeah, there you go. Glasses and a beard, that's as far as I got.
Okay, now my question is regarding again, the skilled migrant visa. I know that there will be some changes soon.
Yep.
Have you got any words regarding the post-grad qualification?
Help me out here and tell them to stop it. Yes, you're right. There are some severe changes or some pretty significant changes are proposed in the skilled migrant area. And it's around, and I'm not going to get into detail because it's only a proposal and it's out for feedback at the moment. We're expecting some clarification around July, August time, but it is around salary cap levels and around different varieties of skill. All right, so there'll be another kind of weighing and balancing process within that. And that's about all I'm prepared to go. All right? I mean, I know what the feedback loops are, but right now it's out to feedback. And
so the next news will be August.
Yeah, around about July, August. I think they're gonna look to present it. Got any better dates than that? No, about then. All right. So you can get into that feedback loop if you want to. By the way. Yeah.
Yeah, just to know like what's the new part.
Sure. Just look up. Honestly, if you look up almost any page that says new rules for immigration, it'll bounce you to it. Okay. Cool. So it's the second question.
Yeah,
have you paid the...
the skilled migrant category, right now the basic salary slab is 45,000 and above.
Yes.
Is it true? Means the minimum 45,000 you should earn to get a skilled migrant visa, right?
Yes.
You mean now or in future?
Currently.
What you should be paid is what the market rate is. Remember, you don't have to have a job to make skilled migrant. You can do it without it. All right? And really, I'm not really prepared to get too deeply into skilled migrants. All right? If you want to talk skilled migrant, then you probably need to go to see somebody who's a specialist in that area, like an immigration advisor or an immigration lawyer. And I'll tell you why, because they are so specifically geared to who or what you are. Right? Generalizing is, I mean, you can read the rules as well as I can. You've only got to go on the website and read them, and that's all I can do for you. All right? It's really, really down to the individual. What's your academia? What's your age? Where you're from? What's your job? What's your prospects? How much you paid? All kinds of stuff that you really don't want to be talking about in this environment. So I'm sorry, but I'm going to blank that question. Oh, now they're going. No, you've had one. Shut up. Yeah.
I don't have a job title as a manager, but I'm doing the job that still use the management skills.
And you apply for what?
The 2-year work visa.
What if you don't have a title as a manager, but what you're doing is a manager's job? Is that what you're asking me? Why would you not be called a manager if you were doing a manager's job? I don't get that. Assistant manager? Could well work. It could well work. Yeah, why wouldn't it? It's related. If you've got a degree in management and it relates to it, and they would not have employed you if you didn't hold that degree. That's really, really important. That's one of the questions we'll ask. Because it can get quite fraught in that area. So we need to be sure that you're being employed because you hold that degree. Ma'am, does that answer it? Does that get it there? All right, ma'am.
While I'm on my WD,
I wasn't even looking at you. I'm looking at you. It's all right. You can go. You started. Go on.
while I'm on my WD2, can I apply for the skilled migrant
Yes.
visa as well?
Yes.
How long does the process
Right
take?
now, all skilled migrant visas are done in Auckland, so we don't do them in Christchurch. In fact, all WD2s are done in Palmerston North. We don't do them in Christchurch at all. In fact, we don't do anything in Christchurch. We just all go to the office and drink coffee. It's brilliant. That's how I've organised it. So right now, skilled migrant are taking about 6 months, I think. All right? In any visa application, the cleaner you can make the application, the quicker we can respond. If we've got to write back to you and we've got to ask for more information, then the longer it's going to take. All right? And if we write back to you and ask you for more information, just supply the information. Don't get into the argument of, oh, no, you don't need that information because I've got a friend who's got a job who used to be long to... Don't. It'll just take longer. All right? If I'm asking you, it's because I need it so that I can make the decision. There's somebody at the back. Yeah, the lady there in the yellow, I think, who I was actually pointing to when she interrupted. I just pointed at her.
If I graduate with accounting qualification and find a job in finance jobs like a financial analyst, is this considered related to my degree?
It sounds very much like it. If what you're asking me is you've got a degree in finance, in accounting, in finance as Yeah, I would have thought so, but I'd need to see the detail. But you know, you could check that out before you take the job or before you make the application. All right? And would I have employed you? I'm employing you because you've got that degree. All right? I'm employing you in this job because of the qualification you've got. Does it relate? Good. Answer it? That good? Okay, sir at the back.
I've heard we can't travel outside New Zealand in job search visa. So how true is it?
Sorry, start that again.
We can't travel.
I'll tell you what my problem is. I'm listening to you with this ear, and my wife sits on this side on the almost deaf now in that sense. Don't record that.
I've heard we cannot travel outside New Zealand in job search visa. So how true is it?
That you can travel outside New Zealand?
Yeah, we cannot travel outside New Zealand.
I'm pretty sure that they are multiple entry.
Okay.
All right? So you do whatever you want with it, but why would you? I mean, you can go on holiday and such like. Yeah, of course you can. Is that what you're thinking about, going on holiday? On the job search visa, on the 1 year visa, you mean? Or
yes.
Yeah. Goodness me, are they multiple entry or aren't they? I tell you what, I honestly don't know. I've got the feeling that they are, but I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll send you the answer to that question, and they'll stick it on the program. All right. But once again, look, the website tells you all that. You don't need me to tell you that, honestly. But I will double check, and I'll come back to Meg. Okay. Is that all right? Yeah, sir.
If you are graduating in management, so
I can't see you. I've got to be able to see you. Go.
If you graduate in management, so when we look for a job, so for us it's important to get for a managerial job, because managerial job can be in any field. So because our course is pretty general, it doesn't specialize in any particular field. It's just a management. So for us, is it important?
Okay, so do you understand? All right. Another track to go down. Do you know what ANSCO means? Australia, New Zealand Standards Occupation Classifications. In there, it will define for you what manager is, and it will have a list of things that they do. So if you're going to be a retail manager, it'll have a list of things that retail managers do. If your job description does not describe that, and if on a visit, which we may well make, you're actually not doing that, then we won't grant you the visa. Okay, so there is a little connection there. You can't just, yes, you're right, manager's a ubiquitous title. It's a sort of a, they call me a manager. It's sort of a big title, it could be anything. So we will go to that ANSCO code. And look, let me just say again, in the franchise area, it's more difficult to make that line up because the franchisor is doing most of that, or it's dictated. You don't have any managerial control about who you sack, how much you pay, how much you charge for the burgers. I didn't mean that. Or whatever, you know what I mean? So it almost excludes it. Okay. I'm coming. You're next.
On that note, what is generally considered to be skilled for a manager?
If it complies with ANSCO. Skilled, is that what you're asking me? As is skilled migrant?
Yeah. For a manager, what is considered to be a skilled migrant?
So if you've got a job as a manager and it lines up with that ANSCO code, this is what a manager does. Things like hiring and firing, price control, stock control, all those sorts of things. If you genuinely do those things, then that's fine. If you genuinely don't do those things, you ain't going to get the visa. I can't express it any simpler than that. Sir, in the white shirt. Come to you. Yeah.
My student visa ends on July.
Yeah.
I'm graduating in December.
Yeah.
Do I apply for WD2 after my finals in June, before my visa ends?
You've got 3 months.
Okay.
Or you can apply for a visitor visa.
Okay.
But you've got 3 months in which to apply for that WD.
So is that like an interim visa? Like I get to
No. Interim visa is a completely different other thing.
Okay.
All right?
So when my visa ends on July, I start applying.
Yes. You've got 3 months in which to apply. Do not let yourself fall into that Do not let yourself fall into that unlawful space. Do not run out of student visa and then apply for another visa. Make sure the two do this. All right? And we won't, if you've done this, then you'll get an interim visa. If we haven't reached a decision yet on this one, and this one's run out, you'll go on to an interim visa. So we will keep you lawfully in New Zealand.
So I don't have to leave?
No, because if you fall unlawful, then it's a big, big problem. Major problem. Yes, sir.
Can I change my job on WD1 visa? Like,
Can you change your job on a WD1? Yes, you can, and you do a thing called a variation of conditions. So, next. No, go.
Okay, can you apply for...
I'm doing this because she's left her purse here. I might be able
Can you apply for a WD2 visa when maybe your passport expires in about 6 months or so?
All right, good question. Passports. In general, we will only issue you a visa to the extent of your passport. It's absolutely pointless having a valid visa in an invalid passport. There are exceptions to that, and we can work around it, but I would strongly recommend that you get a new passport well in advance of your passport expiring. All right?
But the difficulties with that is that, firstly, if maybe your passport expires maybe about 3 months, like 3 months after your visa expires, but your studies are finishing maybe in 6 months. That's before, like 3 months before your visa expires. That's, you have just a space of 6 months. Meaning that by that time, when you have to apply for your passport, that's the time that you need to be focused on your studies.
You know now that we can make decisions on a scanned copy of your passport. I don't need the original document to do it. That helps. So you can send your passport away to get it renewed. What passport do you travel on? Cameroonian. Not an easy passport to renew from here. If you could get back to the Cameroon, it's much simpler. And that's just my general experience with your class of passport, but I would recommend that you renew it as soon as you possibly can. All right? Ma'am.
I'm very new here. I'm just here for 6 months, and I have my visa till next 6 months. When I'm on student visa.
Yeah.
When do I have to apply for the next?
Okay, so some people get what we call a whole of course visa. Other people get them in little bits, you know. And if you academically achieve what it was you wanted to do in this semester, and the university are willing to enroll you in the next semester, and you've got the evidence of funds, you've paid the fees and whatever, then we'll give you the next bit. That's how it works. So you can't do it until you have academically met your requirements for this semester.
But I mean, when do I have to apply? For instance, my visa will expire in November.
Right.
And when do I have to apply for the next one?
Well, you would be applying in October. Even earlier if you wanted to, but you've got to have your academic transcript from the one you've just done. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So whenever the academic transcript comes through and you've paid the fees and university have given you an offer of place, then you can apply. But I would make sure you get ahead of it. Don't, because once you trip over that barrier, it's a very difficult job to get back again. All right? One last one. So.
Once you've got the W2 visa, would it be possible to apply for dependent work visas for our spouses?
Can you do dependent? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Although, going back to his question over here, the world is changing in that regard. All right? So, work visas and dependence is up for debate at the moment. But right now, yes, you can. If you have a work visa, then your dependent partner can have an open work visa, and dependent children can have student visas open. All right, but that will change. Am I done?
May I ask a couple of questions?
Yes, you may.
If a student wants to change their course of study, this is for you, Steve.
Oh, I see.
While on a student visa, are they able to do so?
Yes, they are. From my point of view, from an immigration point of view, there's no reason that you cannot. We rarely see it at university level, but we do see it at private providers level much more frequently. So if for whatever reason you are not enjoying your course, You've set out to be an engineer and suddenly discover that you can't add up. Or you've set out to do languages and suddenly discover you can't read, so this is not going to work at all, so you need to change into another course, then yes, it's quite doable. Provided the university is prepared to accept it. And they usually are, I have to say. Most institutes are desirous of seeing you succeed, not keeping you running down a track to which you are doomed to fail. Makes no sense to anybody.
And that is quite a common issue. A lot of students come here and then find that they're actually not enjoying or succeeding in their course, and suddenly you become aware of a whole lot of new options that you could study. So it's good to know it is okay. One other question, Steve. Is there a place that students can go to find a list of authorised immigration advisors?
Yeah, there is. There is a thing. Okay, let me just touch on immigration advisors just for a moment, and then I'll answer that specific question. I can't give you advice. I can tell you what the law says, I can tell you what the rules and regulations say, but I cannot advise you, oh, this is what you should do. You should go da-da-da-da, or you should do this, okay? That's called giving you advice. Because I'm the decision maker, me and my staff are the decision makers, I can't also be the advisor. The two are mutually exclusive positions. Because if I advise you to do something, and then you do it, and then I say, ha-ha, I'm not giving you a visa for that, you'll be pretty angry at me, right? So, there is a whole bunch of people who are allowed to give you advice. They are licensed immigration advisors or lawyers. Any lawyer. There are others that can give you limited advice, and places like Citizens Advice Bureau is one, the local law society is another one. But if you really, really want some individual personal advice, then find yourself a licensed immigration advisor, and there is a website called the Immigration Advisors Authority. Just Google IAA. Immigration Advisors Authority will give you a list of all those that are licensed to give advice, and just look up lawyer Christchurch, find out which ones specialise in immigration, and there's a list of them there. Most of them will have, you know, MJ, third, lawyers, brackets, conveyancing, immigration, funerals, whatever else they do. That answer it?
Thank you very much, Steve. Now, I'm conscious that some students are probably already running late for class. Really appreciate you staying. Feel free to leave. We will be serving pizza in just a moment, and I just have another couple of slides that I want to put up with. One of them's got some websites on it too. Stefan is just going to switch back the screen back on for us here. And just a reminder that this event has been recorded, so you will be able to access the information again later. And we will get feed the information that's on the slides back out to you. So, these three websites, really great websites. The first one, standard information about New Zealand visas. You can just press the buttons and find the tailored information for yourself. I will be sending this out to you later. The next one, Guide to Working While Studying in New Zealand. And this one is a generic, is that right? This is your area, Tony, I think, isn't it? Is this the communication one?
Yeah, it's on the New Zealand. It's just basically about New Zealand study working. It covers everything, the whole kit and caboodle.
And the Guide to Kiwi Workplaces has got some fantastic scenarios in there that are really useful for you to look at as well. But as I said, we will be discussing this further later. Now, I want to draw your attention to some of the other activities that we've got coming up for international students. First one, July 25th, we have one that is going to be an information session about Career Activator. Have some of you heard of Career Activator or participated in Career Activator? Anybody in this room? We have a couple already. That's great. Career Activator is a personalised program that will help you develop the skills that will make you more employable. So every person gets somebody to guide them along the way, and you together with one of our careers consultants, you will work out what you need to improve your employability skills. So we'll be giving you more information about the program and how to get started on it if you come along to that session on July 25th. It's free, there's no failing, everybody can participate, and if you decide you don't want to participate anymore, that's cool, it's okay. The other one is we are running a series of workplace visits for small groups to visit behind the scenes in some of the work that happens here on campus. So watch out for those as well. If we're running one that's in an area that you're interested in working in, it'd be great if you come and join us. You'll find out how people interact in Kiwi workplaces and what type of skills the employers are looking for when they hire somebody straight out of university. And we're also going to be running a couple of seminars on communication skills, written communication skills and oral communications, especially for the workplace. And there are a whole bunch of other seminars that we run regularly. So we've got a few coming up next week, but then we'll be at the end of this term, and we'll start a whole fresh lot next term. So things like CV writing, hunting for job hunting skills, managing your online presence, LinkedIn, and interview skills, all of those things and more are regularly held in seminars through careers. Now, to find out about these, it's really important that you watch both watch Career Hub and watch us on Facebook as well. So if you go to Career Hub, you'll see that there are several places there that you can look for events. So just keep an eye out so that you can see what's coming up and sign up quickly when you see something that's going to be useful for you. If you can't go, please withdraw yourself so that somebody else can take your place. It's very important. You see it as a commitment when you sign up. We expect you to turn up. The other thing is follow us on Facebook, because we are putting out lots of information on Facebook that's useful for you, and we'll also advertise the events there as well. Now, as I said, this is being recorded. It's going right now on Facebook. The whole session will be posted again later on Facebook, and we have a number of other posts coming up that are of specific interest for international students. So if you watch us closely over the next few days, there will be some videos and some other information that I think most of you will find interesting. So a big thank you to both Tony and Steve for coming along today. If we have any other opportunities to bring an event like this or any other support to you, I assure you we will be advertising them on Career Hub and Facebook. And thank you all for coming. We hope to see you through careers. Cool.